Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Crowded Booth, the live edition. We weren't live last time, but we appreciate you joining on a fantastic Tuesday. The only thing bad about this Tuesday, guys, is the amount of pollen that is in the Columbus, Georgia area. And I'm going to throw it here. There was a cloud of it. Will, do you have bad allergies? I'm not going to ask you how your weekend is. We know how it went. But do you have bad allergies? Does the pollen affect you?
Terribly. Like I've had not COVID, I've had a sore throat from the pollen. It's not COVID. We're virtual anyway, so y'all are safe. But
we're safe.
But
Pete the cat is not, though.
It's bad, man. My nose is stuffy. Throat's been sore. It's the worst time of year for me. I need a rain. Hopefully, it's supposed to rain tonight. Hopefully, we'll get some rain and knock that pollen down.
I can't stand the months of January and February simply because of the fact it's that nasty, cold, rainy weather. But then when March comes, I'm like, I need just a good night of rain to wash it away because I woke up in my truck. And the thing is, if you go get your truck or your car cleaned or washed, it's just going to happen the next night. So it just defeats the purpose. Ralph, I saw you today and you said I had to take some Zyrtec. We're not shouting out Zyrtec by any means, but they're not sponsoring the show. But I mean, this pollen is rough, but hey, springtime is a sign of sports that we're excited about. But is the pollen worth it, Ralph?
Oh, heck no. I mean, it's the worst part about spring to me. I mean, I have bad allergies when it comes to like pollen and stuff. So the first few weeks of it hits me hard. And once it kind of, dials back a little bit, I feel better, but it hits hard early on. It's the worst, honestly.
It's really bad. I can't stand it. We got a first comment. Trey Alexander, the first comment of the show. We appreciate you, Trey, watching. Make sure to share it with your friends and in the group message as well. But listen, guys, we got a lot to talk about because first off, March Madness has been, well, it's lived up to its name. Let's just say it has really lived up to its name. Our bracket group, which first off, thank you everyone for being a part of. We're at 65 plus members in that group. We haven't released the prizes because we're still trying to nail down second and third place. But Ralph and I have discussed first place, and we're letting Will foot the bill for the third place trophy. No, I'm just kidding. No, but it's gonna be interesting because guys, I don't know about you, but like I'm nowhere near. Like I'm not winning.
Look, I said it before. I'm still at 100%. 100%. I've gotten every pick right.
I'm just gonna pull it up. I'm gonna pull up the group real quick, and we'll
tell us what spot Will is in, please.
Just give me 1 second. I'll pull it up in just a second, and then we'll.
Probably at the bottom.
I think he's at 24th, if I'm not mistaken.
That's top third.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, 24th. Will cannot win because he hit Illinois to win like I did too. So it's okay, Will.
It's okay. You just got to be you got to be top 3 to get a prize.
The max points you can have is 9. What?
Joe, just wanted to shout out Jackson Gordy. The pollen is bad. No facts. Printer. That's facts.
Ralph,
no printer. I like that joke.
Update. Give us some stats. Like who was the most picked team to win it all? We obviously had Illinois. Bryce, you had Gonzaga, right? So
I had Gonzaga to win. I'm still in play.
Still in play.
My dad is still in play. He picked Alabama, Arkansas national championship.
Oh, there you go. SEC.
I'm seeing a lot of Gonzaga, a lot of Baylor, Illinois. A few Michigans. We have a Houston in here. 2 Houstons actually. We have 1 Alabama. Oh, we have 2 Alabamas in here. It's just about all the same. No curveball pick or anything. I don't think. I mean,
no, there's a couple. I think there's a couple curveball.
Someone
picks.
named Henry picked Iowa. Bryce is excited they lost.
Oh baby, Luka Garza no longer in college basketball, and I'm here for it.
Look. I'm gonna put our group text, both between the 3 of us, on blast. I did not know you were talking about Luka Garza. I thought you were talking about Luka Doncic.
Yeah, that was a weird conversation.
I thought his name was Luka Garza, not Luka. I didn't even know his name.
Gosh.
All right. That right there. You're muted 30 seconds, just like on the Sports Center show. We're going to roll over to the question of the day. And here we go, folks. We enjoy it. We'll unmute you for this one. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no? If you're in the chat, if you're in the comments, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, wherever you are, you can't watch on Instagram. If you can figure out how to watch it on Instagram, that's pretty impressive. But for Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, first off, on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. I'm talking to you, Jackson Gordy. You watch us on YouTube, you need to hit the subscribe button at least. But I want to get pineapple on pizza, yes or no? Now, listen, I have some friends that they love it, okay? They absolutely love it. And I think, too, it depends on the place. Does pineapple belong on pizza?
Absolutely not. I'm eating pizza. I don't want fruit.
That doesn't surprise me at all. at all. We got some questions here. I love it, Wendell. I love it. You could have spelled my last name right, but that's okay as well.
I'll be allowed to.
But yes, Ralph, for you, pineapple on pizza. Are you a big fan, or how do you feel about it?
I'm a big pineapple on pizza guy. I think the salt and sweet, the pineapple, and whatever you have on your pizza is perfect. And it's just, I mean, I'm not going to go out there and get a pineapple on pizza every single time. But if someone says, "Hey, you want a barbecue chicken pizza? Let's throw some pineapple on there," I'm down.
Now listen, I've had pineapple pizza, and I've gone with the pineapple and ham, or Canadian bacon, whichever country you're from. Canadian bacon is the same as American ham. So if people didn't know that's educational. Wendell, yes, pineapple on pizza. Wendell, what kind of sauce you roll with? Are you a pineapple and ham? Do you go with barbecue chicken? Let's see here. We got another comment. CC's Alfredo pizza is the best pizza on earth. Alfredo sauce on pizza is fantastic. And I've never had CC's. I'm going to have to try theirs. I've had CC's. I've never had CC's Alfredo pizza. I'm going to need to try
how
that.
about the mac and cheese pizza from CC's?
Mac and cheese. CC's is actually kind of underrated. Got a good friend. They eat CC's every day for his birthday, and he's now 21.
Every day for his birthday?
I mean, yes. Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right.
65 days a year.
Hal Mansour watching from up in the Classic City. Pineapple is a must. This is good. Pineapple and Alfredo pizza. However, Colgate destroyed my bracket. I thought you were
Colgate winning it all, by the way.
Yes,
you don't know.
yeah, that Jackson did have Colgate winning it all. Hal Mansour comes back with calzones. Calzones are fantastic. I'm not going to tell you where to check them out because we have some sponsorship still pending from a couple of different places that do have calzones, so I'm not going to throw it out there. But calzones are very good.
Just get a pizza and fold it over. That's a calzone.
Well, now Papa John's had their papadilla. Now, can we just have this conversation? Because all that is a piece of pizza, a sliced pizza, folded over, and you eat it. That's all that is. It's nothing special.
A sauce, if you want.
A sauce of your choice. A saucy. So I don't know how I feel about those as the earbud things coming in and get into my mouth. I don't need all that. But yeah, I think we listen. Pineapple on pizza, it can be good. Will hates anything green and any type of fruit.
That's right.
So
anything
that's why
healthy. Anything, as you can tell, I'm a model of health. Anything healthy is a no-go.
And that's why Will has about a 4 or 5 year lifespan left. And so I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
just kidding.
That's right.
Austin Bali, I'm loving Will's 5 o'clock shadow. Let's get a close up because I want to show off Will's 5 o'clock shadow. He is working on it. And Will, it's not a half bet. How long are you going now with the facial hair?
Man, I haven't shaved in about 4 weeks. Not ashamed to admit it. I'm not ashamed to admit that. This is the longest I've gone without shaving. So we're just seeing what it does.
Wendell's got another comment. He hates the green on the golf course too. He's allergic to it. That is a really good one. Hey, speaking of, we do have the Masters coming up, so we're going to have some fun action-packed shows of that. Last comment about pineapple pizza, Austin Bodley. It is soggy when it's on pizza. Not a fan. I like pineapple, but it can get a little soggy. I understand. No one likes a soggy pineapple. So let's head on to the next topic of conversation. How busted is your bracket, Ralph? We're going to take this twofold. I know it's bad. It's okay. This is a safe space.
This is what I think we need to do right here. I think we need to pull up. I'll do it. I'm going to pull up all of our brackets while y'all talk so the people can see how busted our brackets are.
Yikes. Let's not do this.
Okay, so Ralph,
full disclosure here on the Crowded Booth.
When did your bracket become busted?
Oh,
it's okay. You can
busted
tell us.
Or just non-perfect?
Non-perfect. Like, what was the first domino? Yeah.
I had Virginia Tech beating Florida, and I feel like everyone picked Florida. I felt Virginia Tech had a great season. I thought they had a great chance. And they did. It with the overtime. Virginia Tech's best player fouled out in the game. I felt like that was a big momentum shift. I know Florida has some injuries, and they played very well. Overall, that one really hurt. But I think everyone's bracket got busted later on the day when Oral Roberts stepped up to the plate and took the big hitter down first game or second game of the third game of the day, I think. And yeah. So yeah, first game of the day, and Friday was my bad day. Friday was awful.
Friday was pretty bad. I obviously I took Florida, so I was feeling good about myself, and that was a great game. Overtime it went, and that was a fantastic back and forth game between those two teams. But I want to get some comments because we want to see, where did your bracket get busted? How I definitely didn't have Texas and Illinois in my final. I did too. How it's okay, completely okay. Jackson Gordy, definitely don't recommend picking an all Cinderella bracket.
Can we not pick Scarlets anymore?
Yeah, it's
he picked Oral Roberts to be Ohio State, so it's okay.
That's completely okay. Will, how close are you? Because you are really peering into that screen.
Dog, I'm trying to figure out how ESPN's websites work. All right, so we're gonna look at Bryce's bracket first because Bryce is up higher on the leaderboard than Ralph and I.
Okay.
Last. I'm okay with this.
Okay, here we go. So let's see. Let's see. How can I do this? Sorry,
and I'll take another comment from you, Wendell. Ohio State and Illinois destroyed me. Had Q's in the Elite Eight. That was a big one. I got it right here for you. So here is my bracket. Yeah. So here's my bracket. Will, you can take us through of how my bracket was through, and let's just full disclosure. All right. It's just been weekend one. So this is just through weekend one.
Weekend one. Okay. So see, you had Baylor, good pick. North Carolina, not a good pick. Winthrop, which I had Winthrop too, so I know I had that one wrong as well. Purdue, I think North Texas just busted everybody's bracket.
Yeah.
Texas Tech, you had them. Utah State was a heavy upset pick. Arkansas, of course. Florida, like you said, and Oral Roberts. Oral Roberts really the big killer for everybody. You went with your Jackets against my advice, and it hurt you. Oregon State
was on a mission right now.
Hey, that's power of prayer. Canceled. Not to get political on here, but that's power of prayer. Oklahoma State over Liberty. That's good. I think everybody had Tennessee as well. Oregon State, man, they're hot. Syracuse was a good pick. San Diego State, I think, was very popular across the nation, across everybody. But good on you going Syracuse.
Buddy
West
Boeheim,
Virginia,
baby.
Hey, I don't like that guy. Rutgers over Clemson, really good pick. I think I had Clemson. We'll see when we get to my bracket. And he had Houston. To the other side, Alabama, good pick. A lot closer game than I was expecting. Only beating Iona by 15. And did you see Rick Pitino felt the need to tell everybody that he's staying at Iona?
Yeah.
That was.
So I'm glad.
It's kind of odd. Maryland over UConn. I like that pick. Abilene Christian.
That one hurt.
Again, torched everybody's bracket. UCLA over BYU. Good pick. I like that pick a lot. Florida State obviously took care of business. Colorado. Hey, biggest Colorado fan, the east of the Mississippi right here. That's me. Colorado, big win, and then major disappointment against Florida State, but that's okay. LSU taking down the Bonnies. Another upset pick there. A lot of people were very low.
And I'll interrupt you right here because obviously Michigan won, but that LSU-Michigan game was a great one last night to watch. That was fantastic.
Yes, went down to the wire. We wanted to, but we couldn't go with Grand Canyon. We love what they do. They really good showing, 74 points in the first round against Iowa. Good for them. Oregon, of course, had the no contest against VCU. Very interesting. I don't know if you want to talk about that at all. Kansas. Right. Kansas in a tough one against Eastern Washington. That was a fun game to watch, too.
I want to say something about Eastern Washington. The Twins on Eastern Washington that dropped a total 58 points combined.
They were unreal.
Them. I mean, one had 35 and 11 rebounds, and he ended up fouling out. If he doesn't foul out, I really give Eastern Washington a better chance of winning that game.
Yeah, they played very well in that game, and all nod to them, but just tough one to lose.
Smart pick right here by Bryce going USC. I was high on Drake. I liked them against Wichita State, and I liked them to keep it going against USC. That obviously didn't happen. Ohio, the bracket busters, taking down Virginia, who I think was a pretty popular pick to win it all. But they would have had to face Gonzaga. Creighton.
Yeah.
Because you had that's okay. I'm seeing you had.
Yeah.
You
That was
had
a trendy
UCSB.
upset pick, but Creighton has
Yes, it
really playing very well. I mean, they're on fire.
And then Gonzaga and Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Okay, I will stop sharing while I find the other ones.
That's okay, and I'll go ahead and take some more comments. We have Buddy Boeheim with the number 1 pick. Now, listen, I
Who
take him.
said that?
I mean,
Who
if
do
you're
you
going to take
think?
Luka Garza number 1, why not take Buddy Boeheim, Wendell? I like that. Luka Garza, one of the probably Luka Garza, and we'll talk a little bit about him while Will pulls this up. Ralph, Luka Garza is going to go down as one of the best players and has one of the most storied careers in college basketball. But he might go down as one of the best players to not be drafted, like at all. Like that's literally what they're projecting.
Do you think he won't be
No,
drafted?
no, and that's what the people are projecting. He's not okay, listen, he has great touch around the rim. I'm not going to he's a big man. He's skilled. He has zero burst and little to none mobility. Now, that's fine when you're playing in, let's say, Big Ten basketball. Ralph will now issue the formal apology that you said the Big Ten wasn't good. You were just predicting in March Madness they weren't good as we get ready to put it. But I think
Yeah.
Luka Garza has the chance to be one of he's going to be a rotational guy. I mean, he's not going to not play, but he's not going to be a star. He's not going to go and be a star in the NBA. Like he's
I agree.
it's not suited for his game. He's a cool story. And I think that it's cool. I mean, what he did, getting his number retired, that's really cool. But real quick before we go that, we're going to look at another bracket here. Now, whose is this?
This is mine. This is my busted one. I want to go through it a little bit quicker because I think that took a while. We'll just highlight where I screwed up. So obviously I had Winthrop and Purdue, like you, Bryce.
Winthrop
I had
going
Texas
deep.
Tech. I had Texas Tech to beat Arkansas, and they almost did it. Let's see what else. Obviously I had Ohio State, and then I had Ohio State going all the way to get through Florida. And Oral Roberts, man, what we're going to talk about them a little bit. What a story. I had the Ramblers. I had the Fighting Sister Jeans, and they did well. Couple of 71-point outings. When's the last time that happened? I don't know if I've ever seen that happen.
Back to back.
Oregon State. I didn't say this. We're going through your bracket, but they're in the Sweet 16. They're in the Sweet 16. I had West Virginia, and I had Clemson, and they got beat by Rutgers, obviously. Looking to this side, I had Alabama, Maryland, Texas. Apparently I picked BYU. I thought I didn't. Okay, now I'm a little embarrassed. Let's see. I think we all kind of had the same picks, especially early. See, I had Drake. I liked them a lot. I had Virginia. Going all the way to face Gonzaga. That's it for mine. I think we probably all had the same picks. The first couple rounds.
Ralph, off the top of your head, Ralph, did you have anything that was vastly different? You don't have to pull yours up, but I know you had Virginia Tech in there.
I have Villanova and Baylor in the Sweet 16. I had that one correct.
Okay.
Which, I think a lot of people were kind of overlooked Villanova because their point guard was out, which I think Villanova was still a great team.
No. Ralph, is yours Ralph Leary 13? Is that yours?
Yes, that is my 13-year-old name I put.
Oh, I thought you were last place. Never mind. There's 2 pages.
Yeah, I realized that earlier. I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah, we had somebody that had VCU winning a national championship.
Mm-hmm.
We also had a UConn pick, so those are the kind of wild picks.
You
But other than that, they all seem to be your pretty standard stuff. What everybody was expecting. We want to look at anybody else's bracket, or are we good?
I think we're gonna roll because I think we're gonna throw a social media post out tomorrow with the top 3 right now going into weekend too. Actually, so but guys, we talked about the brackets. Let's just pick it up. The biggest March Madness surprise so far, I think it's Oral Roberts. Can we all agree that it might be Oral Roberts for this one?
I had it too.
Do we want to say
that's the Oral Roberts logo? You can't see it very well, but yeah, Oral Roberts.
I would throw in Oregon State just because they were not looked upon to go this far. They are in the Sweet. They are in the Sweet 16. They shot a lot of people, especially beating Tennessee, then beating Oklahoma State back to back. That's huge. There's 2 huge wins for them. They're on a hot road right now where they're feeling it. So
yeah, for them, I think too. beating Tennessee wasn't. I mean, like Tennessee, that was a trendy pick, but because Tennessee's so inconsistent. But then beating Oklahoma State, who some people felt like could have potentially upset Illinois in the next round to go to the Final Four. I mean, that was a trendy Final Four pick for a lot of people. Will, what were you saying?
I think I need to throw this up because this will be the last time we get to see it and we can talk about it this year. So here it is.
Oh gosh.
Rest in peace.
He's not dead. Okay.
The dream for Josh Pastner in
the
his
biceps
face
though.
And since I've got mine handy, I'll throw it on again real quick since we're talking about him. Georgia Tech, what a year for the Yellow Jackets. What a year for Josh Pastner. Shocked me. I think shocked just about everybody. And I'm sad to see their run end in the first round.
Yeah, and that was a matchup too. Those teams were so evenly matched. Georgia Tech only had one offensive rebound the whole game. I mean, they didn't have somebody over 6'7". Yeah, they just didn't have their big man, which would have made a difference, I believe. Still would have been a great game. But I think March Madness surprise, guys. It's a ton of fun. Are you ready for weekend 2? Who's your new national champion? Real quick, we'll glaze over it before we head to commercial break. Ralph, for you, who's your new national champion, or is your national champion still in play?
No, absolutely not. Illinois is gone, but I'm gonna stick with Baylor. They were my second pick, so I'm gonna go with Baylor.
Will, for you, who are you rolling with? Because you had Illinois as well.
Yeah, I'm going Gonzaga. I think they're too good, and I've kind of been hating on them a little bit all year, thinking Baylor was a little bit better, but I've changed my mind. I like Gonzaga.
Gonzaga is just really talented, and I think that it's going to be really interesting to see when they play a team that is. I don't want to say they struggled. They showed little signs of like potentially where some team could find, a deficiency in their play. But I think when they get to a Final Four and let's say they play an Alabama, if Alabama comes out and shoots lights out like that, you can't defend that. You see what I'm saying? Like You just can't defend that. And so, and I'll say this too. I don't know what the bracket looks like right now, but Alabama has a lot easier road than maybe we thought it was going to take to get there. They don't have to play Texas now. They're playing UCLA. The Bruins are obviously playing fantastic. Whatever can happen. But if they win that game, correct me wrong, they've got to play the winner of Michigan and their opponent, which I can't remember who made it. Florida State. Yes. Now that could be a test, but it's definitely, I feel like Alabama's got an easier road because now they don't have to go through the Longhorns, who were another. I mean, I had them in my Final Four. I think Texas was playing really, really well. So, guys, it's going to be fantastic. Oh my gosh, Friday through Monday was a ton of fun to watch these teams battle it out. It's all going to start again this weekend, and we cannot wait to see a lot of that action. Oral Roberts, I've got a good buddy, and I got to shout him out, John Opiella, who is their assistant director of athletic communications. I texted him. I said, man, what's it like? And he goes, it is unreal out here in Tulsa. It's crazy. It is crazy. The fans are loving it. And that's cool too, man. And we talked on the show last week, on our pre-recorded show, some of the best memories we've seen and last week. And I think this is going to go down as one for those students, for the athletes, even for us watching that. Man, look what Oral Roberts has done, and they're trying to climb to, and who knows? You just get hot, man. It doesn't matter. It don't matter if you're Oral Roberts, if you're Mother Mary School. It doesn't matter who you are. If you're winning, you're winning. I think that's what's cool about them. As we have another comment. Major League Fishing bracket, hot defined Dustin first and second round bracket looking good. We're going to have to get one of those, Richard Leary. I said that we were going to bring in some Major League Fishing. Obviously, we couldn't this week. We're going to get it in at some point, though. But, guys, is there any other surprise? Another one for me was Syracuse, Buddy Boeheim. Ralph, you mentioned it. The guy has scored. I mean, he's carrying the team. And I'm telling you guys, Syracuse is always a team that makes runs in the tournament. Like, they'll be a 9, 10, and this year they're an 11 seed, but they always make runs. And, Ralph, you talked about Buddy Boeheim, what he's been able to do. I mean, he's carrying the Orange into the Sweet 16.
Yeah, I mean, my dad and I were watching the West Virginia Syracuse game, and it felt like it was just a 3-point contest. Now, I think Syracuse against San Diego State shot about almost 43s, and I think they shot 36 against West Virginia. But they're, a lot. You can shoot as many threes as you want, but you got to make them, and Syracuse is making them. Buddy Boeheim was out there shooting 5 of 5 in the first half, or 5 of 6, and I'm like, this guy just doesn't miss, and he's shooting from the logo, and he's shooting from outside, like way outside the arc. I'm like, he can't miss. He's feeling it, just feeding the ball, and that's what they were doing. And I felt like Syracuse wanted it more, and then we say that because look at Oral Roberts, they wanted it more over Ohio State. That's why they're still playing. So some of these teams that go out there as a lower or as a higher seed, technically, I mean, like a double-digit seed, they want to win more than those lower seeds because they have a chip on their shoulders. They're looked over. by everybody, and they want to beat you. So Syracuse is got a chip on their shoulder, and they're a team to watch right now.
They're a team to watch. It's going to be a ton of fun to see what they can do. Ralph, you might have got your Instagram moment right there. Will, for you, is there another team? We talked about Oral Roberts. We talked about Syracuse. Is there another team that has surprised you that's maybe still in it, or they got knocked out? Or maybe it's a favorite who is a trendy pick to get upset?
I've been impressed with Creighton. I mean, I said it last week on the show. I feel like they kind of backed their way in, had a very poor performance against Georgetown in the Big East Conference Championship game. And they've just come out and played some really good basketball, took care of their first two matchups, and now they get Gonzaga. So, they always say if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. And I think they're playing the best right now. So, Creighton.
Creighton. Yeah, they're playing very well.
All you can say, Creighton.
They're playing very well.
I have an even bigger surprise. I was trying to figure out how to throw it up on the screen, but I couldn't do it. Bill Walton's Final Four, as put out by Dave Pasch. I don't know if y'all saw this tweet, but I'm going to read it. It says, Bill Walton's Final Four, USC, Colorado, Oregon State, Oregon, despite being in USC's region, UCLA, despite that you can only have 4 teams in the Final Four. And Bill Walton is a visionary. I think everybody knows this at this point. All those teams are still alive, right?
Yeah, there you go, right there.
There you go. That's it. Yeah,
there you go.
Bill Walton.
So Bill Walton.
He's a visionary.
He's a visionary. And Oregon and USC would have to play each other.
They would.
To get to the Final Four. So,
one
whatever.
of these teams have to play each other.
Yes.
Yeah. But, why not?
This is also the same man who decided to eat a cupcake whole on live television.
It's long been established. It's long been established. This is Bill Walton's world, and we're all living in it.
That's true.
Indeed it is. Listen, we're going to head to commercial break, one of the big sponsors of the Crowded Booth, and then we will come back. We're going to talk a little bit about spring football. Yes, there's no off season. Will's going to catch us up with everything going on in the Plains, and then we're going to hit on with guys. We're almost a little over a week away from opening day for the Atlanta Braves. We're going to kick on some questions we had in the mailbag, ones we didn't get to, and some things we'll talk about their spring training battles as they wind down. All that and more as we come back here on the Crowded Booth.
Cook's Place began serving our signature hot dogs in 1985 from a cart on Broadway. We still serve the best hot dogs and scrambled dogs in town at the corner of Moon and Miller Road and at the Landings. Our friendly staff won't let you leave hungry. Come in and eat to the beat with our 50s jukebox. Cook's Place, fast service, great people, awesome food. What are you waiting for?
Back here on the Crowded Booth, Ralph had to take a step away, so we're back, and we're going to talk a little bit about spring football on the Plains. Will, you shot some text in our group message, and you told me, you said, Bryce, I'm getting a little excited. This is going to be a ton of fun to see what Auburn's about to do. Talk to me. What is Mike Bobo going to do to this Auburn offense?
Listen, I got to be careful. I don't think I can say what I sent you in the text. Our sponsors wouldn't like that, but man. Okay, so Derek Mason and Mike Bobo had a press conference yesterday on Monday following the first week of spring practice. Auburn had an open practice Saturday for the first time that I know of in my lifetime. Been a very long time. But, they were asked questions they were more about themselves, but they did answer some questions about the team and on their sides of the ball. And, man, both of them were just getting me fired up, ready for – being an Auburn fan, ready for a new time, a new era at Auburn, and I think the right people are in place to move Auburn forward and get over that hump that Auburn couldn't get over under Gus Malzahn. But specifically about the offense, Mike Bobo, I mean, my favorite thing that he said, I was taught that, you show up to the ballpark, you want to hit people in the mouth. In some way, the best way to do that is to get under center in an I formation and run right at them. Look, I've said it ever since the hire was made, the change was made. First play of the spring game, and probably the first game of the season, is going to be I formation. They're going to go right up the middle with Tank Bigsby because that's what people have not seen in a long time, and that's what people want to see. And Mike Bobo talked about he's very impressed with Bo Nix. That's kind of how I felt. I felt that you get a really good quarterback coach like Mike Bobo, a guy that you give him Bo Nix, a guy that he can groom, a guy that is already – pretty good. I was having a conversation with a friend yesterday. I think everybody is worried about Bo Nix because he didn't take that step forward last year. He looked like he almost regressed, but he was really good as a freshman. He was really good as a freshman. Went 9-3, beat Alabama, was SEC Freshman of the Year, and a lot of people are gonna try to tell me that he shouldn't have won it, but he was really good. And he wasn't as good last year. Took a step back, obviously. But he's got, in my opinion, the best guy out there to coach quarterbacks in Mike Bobo, a guy that's done it, proven it in the SEC. And, I think Auburn's offense is going to look a lot better this fall.
Got a couple comments for you. Wendell, and Wendell.
There it is.
Wendell Barfield making his presence felt here on the crowd.
There it
We
is.
appreciate you commenting. And listen, well, I want to get into this because there's been a lot of conversation around Bo Nix. Does he fit into the style? What are your thoughts? Because what we saw from Bo Nix last season was a rushed, felt like he had to make every play. And there was, you and I've talked about it. There was warranted time for that because the offensive line, lack for a better word, was atrocious at times last year.
Terrible.
It was almost
Absolutely terrible.
the big thing that stands out to me, and we'll give them credit because Georgia did have a great defensive front, but it looked like they were playing flag football or backyard football. Nix is running around trying to fling it out of the way. So walk me through, can Bo Nix take a step and mature as a quarterback under Mike Bobo, who has developed some really good quarterbacks, namely one that's headed out to the West Coast from Detroit at the NFL level, I'll say.
Right. Yeah, right. You said it. The big thing's going to be offensive line, and Bobo commented on the offensive line. He said he thinks they need some competition at the tackle spots, and that is not what you want to hear, especially being in the SEC. And it's going to depend on the offensive line. I mean, the offensive line, the middle of the season last year, looked to really improve as that unit came together and started to gel. They had an injury, and that just threw everything off the last couple of games. If the offensive line can just gel, play with some consistency so Auburn can know what they can and they can't do, that's going to help a lot. I think last year, Gus Malzahn calling plays was lost. Chad Morris calling plays was lost a lot of times. They didn't know what they could do. They couldn't trust the offensive line. But one thing I think Bo Nix is going to be able to do, he's going to be able to make more throws. He's going to be able to make all the throws with Bobo. He's going to groom him to help make all those throws. And, Bobo was asked about the center quarterback exchange, and Mike Bobo noted that Bo Nix has been the best at being under center and taking that snap. So there'll obviously be a transition in front of 85,000 fans screaming and yelling about, the center quarterback exchange. But Auburn, they're going to be multiple. They're going to be under center. They're going to be shotgun. So they're going to do – I really, really think that this offensive brain trust, Brian Horse and Mike Bobo, are going to put the players in the position to succeed, whereas Gus Malzahn was, we're going to run my offense. If we got the players, it's going to work. If they don't, it's not, and that's what happened.
Yeah, it's more with Harsin. It feels like we're going to cater to the players instead of we're going to try. We're going to make this scheme around the players we have. And listen, he's going to get players he feels more comfortable with. And I'm not saying Bo Nix is going to be the worst quarterback that he has. He might be one of the best, but I guarantee you, when he gets his full recruiting class and gets in a guy, we've already talked about one that he has. That might be a better fit. And it's not to say that Bo Nix isn't a bad quarterback. It's just I think that people need to lay off Nix a little bit because he felt the pressure. Why would you not? He felt the same pressure that Gus Malzahn did. He's got to make every single play. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, your defense is not nearly as good, and neither is your offensive line. Yeah.
And another thing about Bo Nix, he grew up an Auburn fan. So that's like somebody that feels about Auburn like I do, going out there and playing quarterback. Of course, he doesn't want to take a sack. He doesn't want to throw the ball away. He wants to try to score on every play. That's just what's been ingrained into his brain, and it's hard to get away from that to make the smart football play, which could be take the sack or throw the ball away.
Yeah, it definitely could be. We'll have to see how it turns out. Spring practice is going on, full run for them. Over in Athens, we're going to have Palmer Toms come on Thursday and talk about what Georgia's facing and why Jordan Davis, the defensive tackle for the Bulldogs, might be the best and most important player on that roster right now for Georgia. And that's not a bad argument. I can't wait to see what he says about that.
I don't know. I got to hear what Palmer's got to say, because I think
Palmer's a man of wisdom. I'll say that.
I think there's a certain number 18 on that roster that might be the most important player on the roster.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see his conversation and your conversation with that. At least he won't shut you down like a noted other person in the Georgia media.
Let's not go there.
Guys, I wanted to get your choices on this because we're going to talk a little bit about this, but spring football has already been affected in the Atlanta area. Georgia Tech and Kennesaw State, two teams that will meet this fall and play, have already been affected. Georgia Tech had to move their start date back due to some positive tests. So do you guys see this continuing to happen with everything going on. I mean, Auburn, everything's been quiet out of the Plains. Everything's been quiet up in Athens. Whether they're keeping it hush-hush and it's not getting leaked out to the media, or whether they're just, the players are staying disciplined. I think it's a little bit of both, and I think the coaches are challenging. Ralph, how important is it going to be for these guys to showcase that same discipline, and how hard is it going to be for them to do that they had to do all season?
Well, I mean, it shows you that you respect your coaches and what they want you to do. I mean, if you have a full team go out there and they're not, and you all test negative for the COVID first day of practice, that shows you that you were doing everything the coaches asked you to do. You weren't you weren't going out in public all the time. You were being safe when you went out in public. You weren't being you weren't going out and partying on the weekends like some people have been. I see a lot of stories about some colleges that have players and athletes have been going out and testing COVID the next days. It happens, but it's college. These kids are going to enjoy their lives, but other than that, you have a sport to play also, and that's what you came to college to do. I know obviously in the South we look at that and say, wow, you just really wasted your days here just to go out and party. But no, I mean, these kids are the same age we are right now, 20, 21, 22 years old. They're want to enjoy themselves. So if they're out in public with friends and grabbing a bite to eat, and then the next day they have COVID because someone in their area, their range of area had COVID. You can't control it, but it happens.
Yeah, and I think too, Ralph, when you talked about it's just to be disciplined. Is it respect for the team in knowing what this is what you have to do? You had to do it all season long. The harder message might be is, well, there's no games. You know what I'm saying? But for those guys on the edge of a position battle, it's going to be interesting to see what they do. Will, any lasting thoughts of how COVID might be affecting spring practice and some spring games?
Yeah, I think all the disruptions and stuff like that is going to die down quickly. More people are getting vaccinated, which is a good thing. So there's going to be less of it around to catch for people that have not been vaccinated yet. So I think just with that, I mean, the numbers are going to go down. The interruptions are going to go down. Hopefully in the next, there won't be any, hopefully, by the time spring practice ends.
Yeah, by the time spring practice ends, hopefully there won't be, I would say, any complications. We'll be able to see that. And hopefully in the fall, we're going to see. I know a lot of teams are planning for that, especially in the Southeast. Georgia Tech has already planned to say we're going full capacity. If you call to get season tickets up in Atlanta, they're like, yeah, we're selling all the seats available. And I think that's a good plan because you can always backtrack. And the SEC, the ACC, Sun Belt Conference USA showed us that. They had their plans in place, and then they adjusted instead of pulling what other conferences decided to do and limiting from the beginning. And it's kind of hard to get those plans in motion once you've already limited that. And I think that's something that's huge. But we're going to wrap up tonight's show with a little bit of conversation. It's going to be our final thoughts, but we got a lot to talk about. Your biggest Braves surprise in 2021. Now, don't say Ronald Acuna Jr., because we all know he's going to be great. Now, from the reports are that he is slimmed down a little bit, looks better. 40-40 is really in the realm of possibility.
Hey, he hit a big home run today.
Did you see that bat flip? Did you see that bat flip?
The videography on that was incredible.
Unreal.
Loved it.
Actually, that's another friend of mine that he shot that. Matthew Grimes. Shout out to him. He watches the show sometime. Atlanta native. He's down there doing some videography work. So, I want to start with you. Who is your big surprise? And is it a pitcher or is it anything? And then tell me what you believe. It could be a bold prediction of what this person's going to do. Mm-hmm. And Will, we know there's some people watching, and we know that you get a little excited when certain people watch and we talk about the Braves. So is it going to be who I think it is? And please tell me that this certain person's not going to win the Triple Crown.
I don't know where you're going, but I don't think it's going to be who you think. The biggest surprise is going to be whichever pitcher takes that number 5 spot in the rotation. I mean, it kind of seems like they narrowed down the 3 guys that are kind of in the running for it. Bryce Wilson, we saw him last year in the playoffs, pitch really well. Kyle Wright has just been up and down, inconsistent, got roughed up. What did he start yesterday in spring? His last spring start, a couple of days, got roughed up a little bit. And Huascar Ynoa today had some tough luck. 5-run third, I think, for the Red Sox, and none of those were earned to him. But those 3 guys have kind of separated themselves as the top candidates for that number 5 spot. I would have to lean Bryce Wilson, but whichever one it's going to be is going to be that biggest surprise. I think they'll come in. I mean, if it's especially Huascar Ynoa, if he can take it, hitters have not seen him a whole lot, so he could have a really good year. But that's really the only thing the Braves are lacking is that number 5 starter, and whichever one of those guys takes it, I think will be the big surprise.
I'd love to have that conversation before we get to the other ones because I really think, and Ralph, is it going to be a 5 spot in the rotation or we talk about this real quick?
Oh, y'all talk about it real quick.
So we can roll with this because I think Bryce Wilson and what he's done, he has a bulldog-like mentality. He's not bullied out there on the mound. And I think one of the big thing, and it's a spring game, second pitch of the game, he gets nailed in the calf, okay? Runner gets on first, but he bounces back. And I wrote that in the mailbag with our good friend asking the question up in LaGrange because he wanted to know. He said, who's the leader? And we know the kind of stuff Kyle Wright possesses. I mean, he was a Vandy boy for a reason. He was highly drafted for a reason, and he's shown that in glimpses. And he showed it towards the end of last season. The big mark on him right now is just that one game in the playoffs that I think everyone's like, oh, gosh. And listen, people were wary of it because we said, oh, don't worry about Mike Foltynewicz. He'll be okay. There was a lot of other things going on with Mike Foltynewicz mentally and not even really trying to make light of it. There was just stuff going on with him. I don't think Kyle Wright has that same problem. Maybe the Braves are, from a mental health standpoint, realizing that. What with Bryce Wilson, his ability to bounce back, and I think that's what's huge. Touki Toussaint has some of the best stuff in the organization, pure stuff. And we've all talked about and seen it. Do you like Wilson's ability to bounce back? He gives up a home run, next batter, ground out. I think that's what is in the maturation of a young pitcher.
Right. I think mentally he's there. It's just a matter of putting it all together and doing it consistently. Of now that, you threw in Touki. Of everybody that we've mentioned, I think Bryce Wilson should be the number 5 starter. I think right now he's best fit for that. Huascar Ynoa's stuff would be great coming out of the pen. He can run it up high 90s. I mean, you put him out there, you're going to throw one inning. He could probably hit triple digits a couple times in that inning. Touki's stuff is so good. I think his stuff would play in the bullpen. And Tuki's issue is he really has 2 pitches. He's got a fastball and a curveball. Hard to be a starter when you only got 2 pitches. I know he's been working. He'll mix a slider in. He'll mix a changeup in. But, man, his curveball is probably the best in the organization, like you said.
I mean,
he could be a real weapon out of the bullpen. And I've voiced my concerns about the Braves bullpen. It gave me the feelings from 2019 when the Braves are just going to have to go out and just acquire any arm that they can get. So, maybe they won't go that route this time because Huascar Ynoa is big league ready or close to it. Touki hopefully can figure things out and stay in the big leagues because he's been really good in a few outings. But, the Braves pitching, it's still there. It's still good. We've seen Max Fried's come up. Soroka's come up. There's still arms down there that can be really good. So we're still just scratching the surface on the prospect.
And I think that's what scares the Braves is because there's a lot of talk of, well, why don't you trade him? Why don't you trade him away? Because what if Touki goes to another team and he figures it out? Let's be honest. And I heard this on a podcast, so it's not original content, but I really wanted to say this because it was very, very. This was, and I'll say it, David O'Brien on the 755 is Real podcast. You got to listen to it. If you're a Braves fan and you want authentic from the people who actually get paid to do this, please go watch them because it's real good podcast. And David O'Brien said this. And his co-host is Eric O'Flaherty, the former 3-headed monster in the back of the bullpen the Braves had like in 2011-12. It's awesome with Kimbrel, O'Flaherty, and Johnny Venters. But anyways, Johnny Venters, what a throwback guy. That guy was unreal. I mean, he was unbelievable. Anyways, Touki Toussaint has found himself in an interesting situation because he's being asked to come and he knows every time he goes out and pitches, if he pitches bad, he's going back to Gwinnett. Okay? Yep. Or he may go to the bullpen. If let's say the Orioles are going to give him 150 innings and say, sort it out. Tom Glavine in 88 was terrible. 89, tied for the most losses, 17 in the league, okay? 90, still not that good. He didn't put it together, but you know what? The Braves gave him every opportunity. But the Braves are not in that situation. Right now, Atlanta needs guys that can come in and win right now, and I think that hinders the development just a tad bit of these pitchers who are still trying to figure it out because they can't afford to let Touki go in there and give up 6 runs in 3 innings. They can't do that because they're trying to win a championship right now, and that's where the window is. So for a guy like Touki Toussaint, you put him on Baltimore, he's the number 3 or 4 starter in the rotation. They're going to give him 150 innings. He may have a 5.6 ERA, but you have to get those reps. It's the idea of a pitcher coming in, dominating like a Strasburg did when he came up. DeGrom, even Soroka to an extent was absolutely dominant and kind of you saw he belonged. But I think people just forget that it's just not like that all the time. And so I don't mean to go off on a big get on a stool here and talk, but I think really big, Will, you have to take a step back and realize the guys that have already made it, Soroka, Fried, they've cemented their spots.
Yeah.
But for guys like Touki, Ynoa, you're trying to compete on a team that is trying to win right now. It's not like you're the Marlins or not even necessarily the Marlins anymore.
No, I wouldn't throw them in there.
The Orioles, the Rangers. Sorry, Ralph. The Orioles, the Rangers, the Pirates. Where there's 600 innings to be filled out of the rotation, and just go out there and throw, and you don't have to worry about it. These guys are under constant pressure, and I think that's what hurts them. And then the Braves are not going to trade him because what if he does pan out? Because they've keeping him for a reason. So we'll take what you want with that. Then I'll go to Ralph.
Ralph, you take it.
Take it. Well, sorry, I got carried away there, but I think it's a good point.
I think Bryce is completely right about that. I mean, we give him away. We trade him in the next year or two, and the next thing you know, he's on the Nationals against pitching against the Braves, and the next thing you know, he's the most dominant pitcher in baseball. Well, guess what, guys? We gave him up for this. We gave him up for a prospect who didn't turn out at all. Was worse than we thought he would be. Mm-hmm. So I think. Let him go. Let him keep going. Let him work it out. Honestly, if he gets roughed up in major leagues, send him to Gwinnett for a few weeks. All right, he dominates in Gwinnett. Pull him back up. He dominates in MLB. He figured it out. There you go.
Yeah, and Kyle Wright's really the same way. I mean, it seems like every time he goes down to Gwinnett and starts, he 7 innings, 10 strikeouts, 2 hits, no run. I mean, it is an unbelievable stat line after he just was pitching last week at the big league level and gave up 4 runs in 3 innings. I mean, it's just he's in that. He's a 4A player is what we call it. He's too good for AAA, not good enough for the big leagues.
Yeah, it's going to be real interesting to see what these guys – and I'll be honest with you, I would rather see guys like Tukey getting their starts in Gwinnett than having to pitch in the bullpen 2 days later, throw an inning. It's just such a different mentality. But Ralph, for you, who's a breakout candidate for you this season? And maybe it's not a breakout. Maybe it's we see Ozzie Albies take the leap from kind of the 3rd or 4th star on this team to really one of the best second basemen in the game. I think that's not out of the realm of possibility. If he stays healthy, folks, he is unreal. I got a couple chains to prove it. But Ralph, for you, who you got? Who you rolling with?
I mean, I'm going to roll with Adrianzana. I think he has shocked a lot of people in the spring training for how great he's actually been. I mean, obviously, it's spring training. This is a tryout for this guy to make the roster, and I think he can make the roster. And I think he'd be that fill-in spot for an injury if we have God, I hope not. Any kind of injury or problem late in the season, he can come in, fill a spot. He's hitting extremely well in spring training. I think he's hitting right now, if I'm even correct about this right now, he's hitting over close to 300 right now in spring training, which obviously we said spring training stats don't matter.
He's batting 480.
480, even better. He leads.
12,
he's leading the Braves
12 for 25.
Yeah, he's leading the Braves in hits and in RBIs right now. He's really shocked me, especially. I didn't know who this guy was, and he's come on, and every time I see a notification from the Braves in spring training, it's his name popping up. RBI, doubled, home run. I'm like, this guy's just unreal right now. And I think his fielding abilities even done very well. He plays third base, but he can do a lot more than that. So for him, maybe filling a bench spot this year with maybe Sandoval and maybe Jake Lamb. I don't know who else they have in mind for the bench, but yeah.
So I think
Will knows who they have in mind.
I'm going to scare some people with these spring training batting averages. Alex Jackson, who might be the number 2 catcher come opening day, 0.95.
Oh boy.
Christian Pache, who could be the starting center fielder, 111. Freddie Freeman, MVP Freddie Freeman, 154.
Hey, he's got 3 kids. Leave him alone.
Ronald Acuna Jr., 176. Marcelo Ozuna, 179. Johan Camargo, best player on the team, face of the Braves, 188. And
Pablo Sandoval, 339.
Whose average is twice as high as Freddie Freeman's right now?
Whose?
Ender Inciarte.
Oh boy.
So there you go. That's spring training at its finest.
Yeah.
I want to throw out another name for a big surprise, who could be a real surprise. And I think he'd be a big surprise if he just was on the big league roster at any point. Michael Harris, tearing it up this spring. He's batting 308. He's got a ton of potential.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the outfield crunch takes place because obviously Drew Waters is right on the cusp and Michael Harris has done everything to supplant himself as one of the top outfield prospects, not only in the Braves system, top prospects in the Braves, but in the country, in the league. One thing to throw about those stats, I think is what interesting and people also need to take into account with the batting averages. is Snicker has come out and said he's going to start playing the regulars more because Freeman might be playing on a Monday. He may not play until Thursday. Because of the abbreviated spring training games, one, they don't have A and B games. They just have the A games. A B game is where a team comes onto the backfield. It might be the B team of the Houston Astros comes and plays. They may do something like that. They don't have that this year. So that's why you've seen guys like Kipnis, Adrianza, Sandoval, Lamb get a lot of ABs and opportunities early on because Freddie Freeman's going to be the starting first baseman, but you need to know that these other opportunities are going to come out there. So that's one big thing. And I think to piggyback off of what you said, Ralph, with Adrianza, for him specifically, I don't know if they feel comfortable with, and Craven Hall will, with Camargo playing shortstop for a long period of time. You know what I'm saying? I don't think they feel comfortable.
Or second base is what he did last year. And he played second for Ozzie when he got injured.
Yeah.
And that
so for Adrianza, who has the ability to play second short and has played short and the major league level for an extended amount of time.
Adrianza's glove is a lot better than Camargo's.
Similar to what Danny Hechavarria provided, honestly. Yes. A better glove. The hitting is going to be so-so. Adrianza is a light-hitting shortstop, according to the back of his baseball card, which I'll tell you, spring training is fantastic, but when you get down there, the law of averages, that's usually where you can figure out what kind of player it's going to be for you. I'll throw another one in there, and this one's going to be out of the bullpen, where there's maybe seems some uncertainty, like Will has talked about in the bullpen for the Braves. We're starting to think that maybe Will Smith is going to take on that closer role. And Eric O'Flaherty, back on that same podcast again, he pointed out a great point. Will Smith had the weirdest season last year coming into it with COVID. Did. But a person for me is A.J. Minter. And I'll say why. A.J. Minter is credited with his career turnaround, which is obviously not there. But don't forget, a year ago today, Minter wasn't even thought to be on the Major League roster. He was going to start the season in Gwinnett after a horrible end to 2019. He credits Josh Tomlin with that. And a lot of people can't stand Josh Tomlin. And I think the funny thing is about Josh Tomlin is that he provides a veteran presence. Yeah, Tomlin's not going to need to start Game 5 of the NLCS, but he teaches a lot of these guys something.
Hey, A.J. Minter did.
AJ, yeah, and yes, and let's say, A.J. Minter did, and A.J. Minter took that step. I want to go right here. Eric O'Flaherty followed me on Twitter. Thank you, Mr. Josh Brown. We needed that because the only good players for the Braves, and if you're watching your Braves player, are the ones who follow Josh Brown. So I think is I'm just going to leave that one right there. Let's go. The Seattle native.
There's no shot being from Seattle. No shot. I don't believe
no
Josh.
Shot. Well, he just moved to Walla Walla, in case anyone wants to know. Walla Walla, Washington. But anyways, going back what A.J. Minter could provide, this guy turned a corner. And I think, and I don't want to say this, he went, 3 innings and started that game against the Dodgers in the playoffs?
I think I want to say it was three or more, actually.
Yeah,
it was.
I think it might 3 or 4 innings.
So he does that. We've seen relievers take that role as a multi-inning guy, and we've said this. The good thing about the Braves bullpen is that Matzik, Minter, and Smith can all throw to righties. It's not like their splits are terrible and a righty's going to come in and hit a bomb unless you're the other Will Smith.
And you know who can throw to lefties? Luke Jackson.
So all of that to say
reverse splits are real in the Braves bullpen.
Mm-hmm. They are. So I would say with A.J. Minter, he could provide a similar role, and Matzik, to what Josh Hader has done with the Brewers. Now the Brewers have gotten to me they overworked Josh Hader in my opinion. He's not the same as he was a year or two ago, and it's just he's just gassed. I mean, but Minter could come in and get you from the 6th to the 8th. From the 7th into the 9th, if a closing, I think that's what they're priding themselves on. So, guys, I don't know about you, but we're a little over a week away. We may be doing a giveaway with some Braves tickets, which is going to be a ton of fun for a certain game. So, if you're watching, make sure you sign up. We're going to get some signups going on for those comments, and make sure you stay tuned to our social media, guys. Any final thoughts about the start of baseball season coming up? Will, I'll let you go first.
I'm ready. I'm ready to see if Ralph's prediction comes true. That your AL West champions will be the Texas Rangers.
Yeah, there you go. Walker, Texas Ranger. Ralph, for you.
Also, I was looking at some of the betting lines for that. If anybody listening's into that, the Rangers are plus 6,000 odds to win. So if you would bet $100, you'd win $6,000. So
wow.
If you want to lose $100, go for it.
Go for it. Ralph, for you, any lasting thoughts about baseball just being a week or two away and getting ready for another start of a season?
I just have one thing to say.
Okay.
The Dodgers paid
I asked
Trevor
you what
Bauer.
you wanted to say.
That's okay. Whatever you want. The Dodgers paid Trevor Bauer $43 million for him to be a third in rotation. So That's all you need to hear.
Yep, I
And-
think that points out the need for a salary floor in baseball.
You mean cap or floor?
No, a salary floor.
So you
need
want the
salary
Pirates to
floor.
spend. Okay. Pirates have to,
Yep.
So the Pirates need to spend a minimum. There has to be a minimum set that you have to spend.
Yep.
I think the Pirates, their highest paid player is Gregory Polanco, and then everyone else is like $2 million or below. So
What's Polanco
Interesting
making?
going
Probably less than 10, right?
burn 8 or 9 or something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So anyways, we're gonna wrap it up here with a couple things. Fox Sports South, you're now known as Bally. Bally Sports is what they're now known as, the rebrand. And for people like Will and I, please get on YouTube TV so we can watch your games.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm
do you
gonna do.
think? Why do you think we're all going to Ralph's house? So party at Ralph's house to watch some Braves games while he goes to sleep. Ralph, Will, and I are going to sit in the room and watch. We can't wait. Not him, but the games. We appreciate everyone for watching and listening. For myself, I'm Bryce Kuhn, Will Manis, and Ralph Leary. We say so long. A couple final things. You want to make sure you sign up? Yes, you definitely do. You want to be a part of the booth. Mailbag Monday. We've had some great questions. We're eventually going to get Ralph's or Will's in there about Auburn baseball, but after this weekend, he may not want to talk about it anymore. But you know, we'll see what happens with that.
We'll talk about some college baseball on Thursday with Palmer.
There we go. We definitely will. If you are not already, sign up today at thecrowdedbooth.com. You can find that down in the description below. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that little bell button. Notifications will come to you when we go live over on YouTube. Subscribe, Facebook, follow, like, and share. Instagram and Twitter, you know how to work those as well. Make sure to follow us. We appreciate that. And listen, we're still adding some sponsors. We got Cook's Place, and they're fantastic. I've eaten there 3 times in the past week and a half. So I'm doing all right with that. But I'll say this. Join it. We would appreciate it. We're trying to support local businesses in Columbus, especially as spring and summertime is here, where people can get out and start doing things again. If you're a new business in the area, make sure to hit us up as we continue to bring not only national, not only regional, but some local flavor as well as Ralph. There's some local studs, and we'll talk about that on Thursday. A.J. Harris and Michael Williams starting to make some waves in the recruiting class. Two of what might be, and they're not in the same class, but two of the best players that we'll see in the recruiting classes here in the future are both from the Chattahoochee Valley. So we appreciate everyone watching. Have a fantastic evening. And Will, what should people do?